Hello. Is there anybody out there? Wow, I hope you're all doing well. I'm on a funny time today. I got a bit sort of into the work, and I sort of had a really busy morning and thought I'd have a nice break for lunch, and got past lunch and sort of dilly-dallying, went back and did some more work, and then went, "Oh, that's right, I haven't been online yet. Oops." So here I am. A lot of you wrote to me today too over some of the things I raised on the videos this morning. So we can talk about those later. But I think that I used to be so very private about my life. I would never talk to anybody about anything. Hey, Jules, how you going? And I used to be I wouldn't talk to anybody about anything about myself. Like I'd never tell anybody anything. And sort of as I've come to realize now that it's okay for me to share some of my stories because it's so obvious to me that that does help people out. So that's why I do it now. It's been a really big journey for me, actually, in terms of that. Hello, lovely Scott. Coming to terms with who I am and feeling okay about sharing myself with people. Haley, how are you going? That's tough sometimes to sort of share yourself a little bit. But it is a safe community and I feel safe doing that. But anyway, all right, so I won't be on for long because I've got to go out. I've got to take my daughter to the doctors this afternoon and she's okay, so please don't worry about her. I'll share with you when we confirm all the news. But it's all quite hush-hush at the moment. I'm very well, thanks, Haley. A little tired today. I actually had a good sleep last night. I remember waking up about 1 o'clock. And most times when I wake up, I can't go back to sleep. But I did last night, and then I woke up at 4:30 or whatever it was, which is pretty much a standard time for me. And because I go to bed fairly early, I don't mean to go to bed early. I'm just gazonked by 7. Honestly, I am 8. 7 o'clock, I'm like, yep, that's it. Good night. So I struggle some nights to stay up to 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I think I've got myself into a little bit of a routine now because I still get, anywhere between 5 and 7 hours sleep, mostly. But it's sort of in the early parts of the night. Okay, we've shuffled the bum off the cards. What do we have? Oh, we have the octopus. Okay, let's see what the octopus says for us today. Obviously, the octopus is a water sign, so that's nice and easy. And it opened the page fairly quickly too, so bonus. Octopus. This is about reaching, yearning, lacking boundaries and direction, which is quite interesting, isn't it? The octopus signifies a wonderfully perceptive mind paired with a lack of healthy boundaries. Unfortunately, this results in a well-intended but messy relationship. The octopus entwines itself into other people's business and share their own without restraint. They believe that's what it means to be close. If you notice after spending time with someone that you feel drained or uneasy, the essence of octopus is at play. Begin to establish healthy boundaries. Be patient and firm. It may be a very old habit to change. So when in balance, this is interested, engaged, and intelligent. And when out of balance, it's needy, clingy, and lacks courage. So I'm wondering, what this is sort of getting through to us here. Maybe at times we possibly feel that we want to rely on somebody else a bit more. Maybe sometimes we reach out and, want somebody to be there for us. Maybe we all feel a little clingy and a little needy sometimes. And that's okay if it's sometimes. But if it's all the time, then there's a problem there that you need to look at. So I think it's just reminding us that if you're too needy and too clingy, maybe you need to have a look at how you rely on your own resources. Oh, thanks, Scott. Golly, you're so beautiful. You're always so beautiful to me. I don't look tired. I look good. I think it's because I put the light on. See, if I take the light off, I think you might see my wrinkles a little bit more. My daughter bought me a big ring light, which is behind me, but I've never got to put it together. But they're really good, those ring lights, because they sort of shine on your face and take away all your wrinkles. Hey, Miss Blue Ryan, how you going? You lose your wrinkles. That's why they use them when they're photographers, to make you look all smooth and shiny. Believe me, I'm not so smooth and shiny anymore. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle. I like this. We've got the card of Deep Knowing here. This is another deck I really like. Always has really nice messages here. Oh, that's beautiful, Hayley. They tell me there are a lot more, and I don't know if it's true. How are you, Crystal Blue? Hey, Emily, how are you? Hayley, people have been saying to me they've been seeing a lot more butterflies around than they were seeing before. I don't know if it's just because we're more conscious, or whether it seriously means our energy, the atmosphere, is clearing. Because I remember when I was a kid, like, there was so many butterflies. You'd run into a shrub or something and they'd all fly out everywhere. Like, it was crazy. But then there were a lot of bees and other things as well. So there does appear, Jules said the same thing, it does appear that we have more life sort of opening up to us at the moment. Oh, there you go. So Scott had one too. Now, butterflies are indicative of getting messages from the other side. So, oh, the spiders. Oh my goodness, Emily. Are you in Australia? I'm just about to read from this book, so sidetracked again, Miss ADHD. About 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit more, I went into my laundry, and I know if you're in Australia, you will know about big spiders, because we have lots of hunts. We have a couple of very, very poisonous spiders. I haven't so much seen funnel webs, but I've seen a lot of redbacks in my time. But I went into the laundry one night, and there was a big huntsman on the wall in the laundry, and he was big. He wasn't quite as big as that in my body, but he would have been almost my hand span. And I stood there and looked at him for a while, and I thought, yeah, you stay in the laundry and I'm going off to do my business. Do not come out of the laundry or you die. So I left him in the laundry, and I went in a few times to sort of check, and he was still in the same place. Anyway, later that night, might have even been the next morning, I went in and he was a bit screwed up, and I thought, oh, he's dying, because he was sort of all spread when I first saw him, and then he sort of all crunched up. And the next day I went in and he wasn't there. So he's probably dead under the washing machine. The very same night he went, on the top of my stairs was another huntsman, not quite as big, but still a fairly good sized spider. And I had to walk past him all the building that we're in. But yeah, anyways, somebody said to me, oh, don't worry about huntsmen, they don't hurt you. And I was like, do you not realize they do bite? I've had 2 friends who've been bitten by huntsmen. They're very, very painful. And one of them ended up in hospital having a check because she wasn't sure what she'd been bitten by. And she'd seen a spider in her peg basket, and she'd put her hand in the peg basket when it bit her. And the other guy I knew, I used to work for, he got bitten when he put his foot in his shoe. And he turned the shoe upside down and he squashed the spider. So obviously it bitten him in fear. But they're quite a painful bite. But hey, how are you, Kay? Oh, you never catch my live. I'm on thank you very much. You're very welcome. It's a funny, strange time for me to be on 2:30 in Australia PM. So it's sort of my lunchtime-ish time. Yeah, so they do bite, but they're just not usually that aggressive. Like, they pretty much will only retaliate if you, stir them up, I guess. All right, let's see how I get sidetracked. Right. It always reminds me of Billy Connolly running down the road, talking about 1,000 other things and then coming back. Okay, the card of Deep Knowing came out. Now, the essential meaning for this card is intuition, listening to the oracle within, empathy, and hypersensitivity. So, intuition is the faculty that allows you to enter into dialogue with Source, the consciousness that you're a part of but cannot see with the naked eye. It's perplexing that people are taught to ignore this natural capacity to navigate their journeys to access their inner guidance. Know that you have an ability to read between the lines and find all the truth that was missing when the story was told. This deep knowing allows you to open the door to wisdom far greater than what is available in the limitations of human experience. You're given information that may make no sense whatsoever to the logical mind or five senses, but which is 100% correct and true. The trick is to listen and then to act accordingly. You're now invited into this sacred dialogue of deep knowing, so tune in and trust your vibes. They will be right. Ask and you will receive answers from unusual sources. Now, I'm pretty sure that at the moment, a lot of people are really digging into their intuition because it's quiet. We have more time to ourselves and more time to reflect. So probably all of you are doing some of that, sort of going a little deep inside and dredging around for stuff you want to sort of take out and have a look at. Sometimes it's really cool, sometimes when you've got time to yourself and you're sitting around sort of thinking, you can remember memories that, you'd forgotten about. I did that not so long ago. But I think that, a lot of the time we're so busy and we don't want to sort of stay too far in our past, and we perhaps forget sometimes that, there are some good memories there that are okay to go back and have a look at. My memories are pretty scattered of my childhood, but I have some fantastic memories, and mine are always sort of connected to the beach, the water, swimming, holidays. So they were the things that seemed to stay with me the most. But lots of other things, not so much. But occasionally I'll remember something and I think, wow, I'd forgotten all about that. And I think, I wonder why all of a sudden it's come up just to sort of remind me of something. So it's really nice. You get a really nice feeling about that sometimes. I didn't really have much to talk about today. I didn't really sort of think about what to talk about, but I will sort of have a quick touch base with you about meditation, because somebody said to me yesterday about quietening the mind. And every time somebody says that to me, some people say they can't quieten their minds or clear their minds of thinking. And I always think, when I'm talking to people about meditation, if you have trouble meditating, tapping's really good. So please have a look for EFT. It's really good practice to get you grounded. But it was really funny because I watched a clip, a YouTube video last night. I think I've said to you before, Richard Grannon, the Spartan coach, one of the people I think is, has sort of, he has really good things to say. And, he doesn't always completely align with me, but a lot of the stuff he talks about. Hey, Susan, how you going? Yeah, I'm a bit the same, Jules. I've got little bit snippets here and there. Apparently my iPad doesn't see Susan in my contacts. How funny is that? See, talks to me all the time, and it's locked. I haven't used it all day. Anyway, so I was watching his video and he was talking about something that I thought, it sort of brought clarity to me about something. I've been watching Joe Dispenza, and I'd done a couple of his meditations around, sort of getting people to meditate, because Joe Dispenza is sort of the same as Eckhart Tolle and lots of other people about living in the moment. And it's a hard thing to learn to do, but you can do it. And it's the same with meditation. You can quieten your mind down with meditation. But when I say that, everybody goes, oh, you can't quieten your mind. So I think, well, maybe other people haven't done it as often or frequently. Maybe it isn't. It's the way I'm explaining it, right? So I heard Richard Grannon say something, and I thought Joe Dispenza says the same thing. When you meditate, you find space between your thoughts. So when you first start to meditate, the thoughts come in very, very quickly. And then you learn from that when you think something, you just put it aside and you carry on meditating, and you get better at that. So you get spaces between your thoughts, and the spaces are what helps your mind disconnect from your body so you can have that rest. That's why meditation works so well. So when people time and you're in the practice of meditation, I would think someone like the Buddhist monks who meditate all the time would be able to completely quieten their minds. I have no doubt that when they talk about quietening their minds, they have complete silence. Because there are times when I meditate, when I get so far in that zone, my mind does nothing. It just sits and it's just comfortable sitting. And sometimes I go, oh, my mind's really quiet. Like, that's fabulous. I find that sometimes during the day, I haven't been thinking for a while. I'll go about my business, I'll go about my job, I might do a bit of housework, and then I think, wow, that space between the last time I thought about something and now it's substantial, because I can't remember anything in between. That doesn't mean I don't have anything between my head, between my ears. I'm just saying that once you get into the practice of meditation, you can quieten your mind down. The length of period or the space between, which sounds like a Dave Matthews song, the space between your thoughts gets longer. It becomes more quiet. And that is what I guess you're trying to achieve with meditation. So when you first start, if you're listening to a guided meditation, you keep coming back to the person's voice, which is fantastic. That's why I would suggest people do guided meditations. Very, very easy to come back to the guy's voice. When you're doing personal meditations without guidance, you're listening to your breathing, you're listening to your body sensations, you're listening to noises outside the room and inside your body, in your head. So you're concentrating, always coming back to the noises. But after a while, you just learn to just tune out completely. Now, that doesn't mean I don't go through periods of time when my brain is going absolutely crazy. Believe me, there are times when my mind goes really mad and I think, I need to quieten it down. So then I do just a couple of minutes meditation. I take my feet, put my feet on the ground, take my shoes or my socks or my slippers or whatever I'm wearing off, put my feet on the ground, and I curl my toes up a little bit so I can feel the ground beneath my feet. Now, if it's warm enough and I have grass outside, I'll go for a walk on the grass because that immediately grounds me. But if it's not, I can do that. I love a cold floor. So I'll go and stand like on the kitchen tiles or kitchen floor with no shoes on and just stop and feel your feet on the ground. And that is very often just for a second or two will take you out of your mind and into your feet. So what Richard Grannon was talking about was the fact that we call it mindfulness, and Eckhart Tolle doesn't like the word mindfulness. So these people call it the space. So I thought that's really important to show you how to meditate. You just need to find the space between your thoughts. Now, if that's only one or two in the time you're meditating, that's a start. So if you think you can't meditate because you're thinking too much, don't be looking at the thinking, looking at the space you make between your thoughts. That's going to be so much easier for you to just tune out for a little while. I thought it was really good and it really hit home for me. And I thought, I'm going to tell people that. But it really is much easier to think of meditation as the space between your thoughts. So anyway, so if you don't, Scott's gone. Yeah, I thought it was too, Hayley. And I've been trying to talk to people about meditation for years. And I know I've had people say to me, I just can't meditate. I think too much. And I think we all think too much. It's about practicing how not to think too much. And then people say, but I can't quieten my mind. And I think, well, how do I explain to someone how to quieten your mind? And when I heard the explanation, and as I said, it came from something Dr. Joe Dispenza has said, it came from something that Richard Grannon had said, and something I remember Eckhart Tolle saying years ago. And I went, I've not really put it all together, and it was just so clear to me. So when you're trying to meditate, if you only get one or two spots between your thinking, then you're already meditating. And that is what you've got to work on. So if that's the case, then you're not going to freak out every time you start thinking, because you're not really looking for the thoughts. You're looking for the space between the thoughts. What an awesome way of doing it. So hopefully you can all be great meditators now. Even if it's only for a little while, even if it's only taking your shoes off and standing on the kitchen floor, several times a day, and just feeling the floor beneath your feet and just stopping for a moment to feel the floor. because while you're doing that, you're coming out of your mind a little. And even though it's only a little moment in time, that's a meditation. It's not mindfulness, it's space. It's space for your mind to rest. And that's what you're after. So there you go. So for someone who wasn't going to stay on for long today, I've talked a lot again. But I'm getting so used to talking to you guys. It's really comfortable now. All right, then I better go back to work. I've only been on for about 20 minutes today. They're easing restrictions in New South Wales. So apparently you can visit people a little bit more regularly now, although they're saying they still want you to try and keep space and make sure people you're visiting aren't sick. So I don't know if that will open a can of worms or whether that will sort of help some of us have a little bit more of a relaxed lifestyle. All right, I'm going. Be good. Love you all. Mwah.